This is the best conversation that has ever happened. Ever. Ever. I mean, at least for me. This was, holy shit. My cheeks even hurt now just from smiling so much from editing it. I won't even give anything away, but Brennan and I would talk about it at pretty much everything. Everything. Brennan was on vacation, but I'm so grateful that I got to sit down and actually talk to Brennan. Now, a conversation that will heal the world. My beautiful, beautiful friend, Brennan. It feels like it's time to buy like a ranch, you know?
Oh,
Right? I
wow.
just want like a lot of animals, I think. And so just like consolidating. And like the beard just popped out. And I was like, well, this just kind of fits, you know? Like,
It's all coming together. Really? Yeah.
right? I think
True.
it's just aging. Yeah. You look great. And you're in Germany?
Amsterdam, close.
Amsterdam, that's the shit.
So
Of
nice.
are you ruling there? Are
I
you the
think I'm
king of everything?
thriving. Yeah, I'm the kleine prince, the little prince of Amsterdam. Is my morning mantra. um, yeah, I think I've been here like 3.5 years. It's so great. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I have like really cute friends out here. I get to study weird ass shit, that like I wouldn't get funded for probably in the States. So
Right. How long have
I
you
get
been?
healthcare.
You what now?
I have healthcare.
You have
That's
health
so, I don't
care?
know. What?
Yeah.
I
Something
know.
I don't have right now. It's not
I know.
happening right now. Yeah. That is
Bragging.
brag. you know, want to touch me? You know,
Yeah.
I've got health care.
It's fine.
Yeah, we've been it's definitely been on the list of moving possibly.
Things. I
Yeah, we
mean,
haven't.
honestly, you should. It's an easy place for expats to well, live, but also to like legally come and be able to stay. It's one of the
Interesting.
easiest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just living here has been the strangest ever. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I grew up in the woods and shit, and like,
I know.
so to live
And you have
here,
great politics because of it.
you like that shit?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I don't follow many of the rhetoric of the
Yeah,
folk. Yeah, but
transcend.
well, man, it does come from understanding them and talking and learning and growing. And when you grow up as fundamentalist as me, you know, like homeschooled,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be, swayed by the world. So that
yeah.
Satan wouldn't get me.
Looks like he got you a
I got
little while
satanic
back.
tattoos. Yeah, yeah. The Book of Satan actually might maybe save my life, and that again, this is why
Yeah,
I'm so. Yeah, man, because like,
by LaVey, Anton LaVey.
yeah, right. Isn't
Was
that
that the
the?
one, or am I thinking of the Satanic Bible? Because the Book of Satan,
Oh,
regardless,
that's
since
right. No,
Satanic
it's a
literature, I'm
Satanic Bible.
confusing.
Forgive me. Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah, no,
Bible
I mean,
itself. Yeah.
there's so
Well,
many.
yeah, but I see. I don't know much. I only know that.
It's
That
a
was my
good one
first
though.
dabble. Jonah
Yeah.
Bergman. Jonah Bergman. Yeah. Do you know that guy? He.
No, I just like that you said your first dabble. I'm like dipping
Well,
the toe in.
yeah, because when you grow up alone in the woods and
Yeah.
indoctrinated into a belief system that involves
Fuck.
perfection,
Yeah.
so you can't jerk off, you can't think about
No.
bad stuff, you can't,
More sexy stuff.
oh man, yeah, nothing. I was never. No one ever explained to me sex growing up. I never was told
Wow.
about a condom. I was never told about fellatio. I was never told about. In fact,
Well,
I learned about sex by being a guitar tech for Duff McKagan from
oh
Guns
my
N'
God, wait, this is like
Roses.
the part of your lore that I forgot about that I
Yeah,
love.
yeah, like
We
yeah,
bonded over this at the bar we worked at because they're my favorite bands. And
yeah.
Duff is like, what, he's in Seattle doing yoga now and you used to
He's
be
the
a
shit.
guitar. I can't.
Yeah,
Oh
he's
my
the
God.
best.
And
He's
he
the
taught you about
best.
sex.
Well, and his bandmates. Actually, my co-host in this, who's in Rome right now,
Okay.
used to be his drummer.
Ooh.
And the reason we kind of do this
Wow.
together is because I used to like try to get him to be a Christian in the green room every night. So like I'm this little 27-year-old that's not, who's saving his virginity for marriage.
Yeah.
And then there's like three band dudes. Duff's always like working. Three band dudes just like looking in my eyes deeply, concerned, like, hey, that might not be the best way to have a long lasting relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun. And I'm
Good
really,
times.
well, like you need friends. Like, I feel like I'm talking too much about myself just because
No,
I'm
you're
so
not.
excited
It's
to see
also
you.
been years that we
Yeah.
haven't seen each other.
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on. This is
Okay.
cute.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, oh man, I got a little nervous. I forgot exactly what I was about to say.
I think it was
Oh,
cute. Friends. You need friends.
you need, yeah. So, like, one time, I played in bands forever, and a lot of them sucked. But you don't know you suck.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're like, I spend all day at the practice space. There's no way, And so, like, we had opened for my favorite band, and the drummer and good friend, and like, I walked up to him afterwards, and I was like, "How was it?" And he went, and and then he said something nice. He found something nice to say, but it was that split second of honesty that I was like, "Thank you," and I quit the band soon after that. Actually,
Yeah?
Yeah, you got to learn. We all have blind spots, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I know.
How do you have blind spots? You don't have fucking blind spots.
Oh, I'm an Aries and I'm an idiot. I'm a very smart idiot. That's
No, you're just passionate. That's the difference. It's just they kind of go hand in hand, Moronicy.
yes. Aw.
Passion.
Blind spot, or maybe like rose-colored glasses. That might be one of my blind spots, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's so hard.
It's honorable. I think it's an honorable, blind spot to have. It shows some kind of optimism for life and how like barbaric and terrifying humanity is.
Dude.
Put on your rose-colored glasses. It's okay. I'm enabling myself and you at this.
Or maybe you're creating a better world that we should all. Maybe if we were all projecting this kind of mindset, if this was all our inner prayers, whatever fucking religion, whatever God, maybe we'd all have healthcare at this point.
Maybe we don't have healthcare. And isn't that what it's about at the end of the day? Or just work with demons and, maintain your health use that way.
Yeah. Let's get into demons because that's the shit. And Lilith to me, I know nothing about until recently. In fact, I learned most of it from your stories. I'm just like constantly holding my finger down to like read everything.
Oh, I'm a little wordy. I'm a wordy bit.
I'm into it.
Wait, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
3 questions. Number 1 being, am I even allowed to ask you questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. So then 2. 1 more silly one, I guess. Since your podcast is Let's Get High and Read the Bible.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to drink a beer while we talk?
Yeah.
I would love to have a beer and talk about demons. Like,
what if we have like 5? I went on a walk and smoked a whole spliff. So
yes. Okay, great. I love the vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cheers to you and our little hang right now. So good
coffee.
to see you. Coffee
so
boom.
Good to see you. This is the best.
This is the best. Okay, my 3rd question. Yeah, I wanted to ask you like what your vibe is with Lilith, what you've pieced together or like heard about her. But yeah, if you're watching my stories, you might have some vague idea.
Well, man, this is such a deep question for me, and I'm going to be vulnerable, and so this might be too long of an answer. Okay, so
no, do it. Oh my God,
okay,
please.
yeah, because
I love it.
So when you grow up fundamentalist, it's as Republican Christian as you can get out in the woods. Very small congregation, 70 to 150 people tops throughout all of time. And there's this strange thing where there's like the misogyny is like right in your face. Like women aren't allowed to preach, women aren't allowed to be a worship leader, women aren't they're only allowed to teach the young kids. So right. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's biblical.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Sucks. Yeah, the Bible has some pretty shitty spots. So like but the women I would meet, and my mom was a Sunday school teacher, they were always like way better people than the men in the church. They were like, right? Yeah. And so I grew up with this, and I don't want to go too close to home because like I just look like a Joe Rogan fan and some, like I grew so bad. I've always been like a dude. Yeah, because it's not my vibe. Like I'm not talking shit about anyone, but like so seeing at home problems with like the problems with masculinity that I see, like such not taking care of the opposite sex, not respecting the opposite sex, not letting them have a voice.
Yes, there you go.
Like it's the crazy. There's this, and so now extrapolate out, and now I'm here away from that. I got away from the church fucking almost 11 years ago, and
yeah, that's right.
And I get into textual criticism, is what it's called, because like I've always been obsessed with reading the Bible. I just read it all day. But which sucks actually. It's
so cool. I think that's actually so cool. It's so dope.
It shows discipline because it's not very fun at many spots. But I've found these new scholars that I agree with and align with more, and they have talked about Asherah, which in the Bible apparently is God's wife, a consort, Yahweh. What you're supposed to say? Yeah. So. And how it was just taken out of. And there's just a few verses in the Old Testament that they basically forgot about that are like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Not only was this like a deity that they worshiped, sacrificed to, thought about, like it was a woman who was just equal to God, and they erased her. And,
yes.
And now here we are in this, weird land where it's and I'm not. It's not like I'm trying. Like I think dudes rule. Dudes could. Yeah. There's some really nice dudes, but like,
for sure,
there's this definite imbalance to the masculine, feminine energy, right? And we're fighting it all the time. And there's all like people like Andrew Tate become fucking popular because of this vacuum. Oh my God.
I know. Look at like Asherah gets erased from the Bible, and millennium later we have Andrew Tate. Like, oh. Fuck.
Right. So
what erasure does, like in the long term, like it's a good example to bring up.
So the idea that there's any preservation towards to a feminine divine that has been worshipped, and therefore Lilith, is like I kind of feel like I've been a bubble boy with religion, that I've never been able to actually like do any of the fun shit. So like I've mastered the bullshit terrain.
Yeah.
Of like the Judeo-Christian Bible, like, and getting to dip into this, it's more. So I don't actually know much about her. So anything you want to tell me is going to be like a kid on Christmas right now.
Okay. I have two. I'm so excited. I have two starting points. Number one, I love this juxtaposition of you being like, oh yeah, I've done all the legwork, textual criticism, reading the Bible, and you're coming in with the fun shit. Like, love that. Because I think what you do and you and your co-host, like what you guys do is so important and so sick. Because the first book that actually, like, I grew up Catholic and nowhere near, like different vibes, you and I, like, we're way more insular, etc.
You're smart. You were smart from an early age.
A cloud of shame hanging over me at all times, but a high achiever, yeah. Sure. So that's the vibe. Oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Okay, so the first, I think, book that radicalized me, because I'm pretty familiar with the Bible, biblical readings as well, was this book called Texts of Terror. When I was like in my undergrad, like 18, 19, reading this, being like, oh, fuck yeah, here comes my feminism, like, you know, like me dipping my toe into that shit. Basically like going over like all these biblical passages that are actually so horrifying and like rapey and assaulty and like, you know, a father being asked to kill his child to appease some like egotistical divine spirit, you know, etc. And then I kind of feel like what you and your co-hosts do are also like really examining these passages and being like you, but you do it in kind of this funny way that almost this big divine cosmic joke. You have your serious moments of like critique and criticism, but then the levity that you guys add to it is like, yeah, this is funny though. Like, can we just like see past this? Like, this is ridiculous.
Listen, they're cutting their dicks off, right? Don't we see this?
I know. Like, so great job, and I love what you do. Second point. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is just like my hot take. I don't think it's even that controversial.
Okay.
Because you'll agree with me. But maybe some people won't. But I feel like, so you're telling me, basically, you grew up in some intense Christianity. Mm-hmm. I grew up in like a different branch of intense Christianity. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever, what have you. Neither of us had heard of Lilith. Like, I had found Lilith in my early 20s, and now I'm academically kind of studying her because I'm not happy with the amount of scholarship on Lilith. There's not a lot. And so I want people to know about her. Right? Awesome. But in Christianity, Christianity does not hold space for Lilith. It doesn't even mention Lilith. Just like Christianity doesn't mention God's divine feminine counterpart. Just like Christianity actually kind of shits on Mary Magdalene. And Christianity, some sects of Christianity, like,
Preach.
Right? It's I swear, some Christian sects praise the Virgin Mary. That's only because she's a virgin. She's an outlier, and she's the mother of Christ. But Christianity as a whole does not, whether it's good power or evil power, Christianity doesn't give a platform for any woman. No. Because women can't have power at all, whether it's benevolent or malevolent. Like Lilith would be like the evil demonic, but she's very powerful. And yes. Mary Magdalene, well, you know, do I have to say?
Yeah, that's sick.
So we'll get into that. She's such a badass. But I mean, she exists primarily in like Jewish texts, like their midrashic texts, like which is like biblical commentary. Totally. That's what really kind of developed her myth, like in such detail. And they do like acknowledge that she's powerful and maybe even a little scary. And here are some things you can do to like protect your house against her, but we're going to acknowledge her. Christianity doesn't even acknowledge her. It's the erasure again. It's like, you know what I mean? Of women.
Small dick energy.
It is small dick energy.
Unfortunately. It really is. Like, really no, you can't even play. No, I have to win. These are all my toys.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about like good men and bad men, but like no women. We're not even going to acknowledge them in this system.
Yeah, and you know it's strange too because the Apostle Paul actually names a woman as the head apostle, and there's some hint. It seems that's because of the 14 books he wrote in the New Testament, like only 6 or 7 of them can be accredited to him. He's a part of this thing. Yeah. It's like a lot of students or people who lived after him kind of consolidate his ideas, put his name at the end. It's like that's a big thing with biblical shit. So like it's
that's common, right? That is a common.
Actually not. There's and it's so sad because I grew up being like, the Bible doesn't even have an error. Did you know that? There's not even a spelling error, you know? Like oh God. Oh. Yeah, and then and then you start reading literature from scholars, and it's like, pseudepigraphy is what it's called. You could fetch a lot of money back then for like, let's say you were a farmer and you sent your kid to a major city, learned how to read and write. They get some paper and pen. They're like, write down everything you remember and put Socrates at the end. The library opens in their town. They can go sell it.
Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
But these kind of processes, for some reason, the small dick energy just weeds out women. Like you said, Mary Magdalene gets shit on, and she's like supposedly the closest to the man. She's the closest to the right.
Like she's like best friend, confidant.
I mean,
the whole. Do you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
So there's how the whole like Da Vinci Code conspiracy is that Mary Magdalene and Jesus were actually okay. Apparently, well, that's a conspiracy to cover up the real conspiracy, which was that Jesus was a traveling queer man, and I mean, think about it. He's traveling in a band with other men, and then one sex worker. There's 12 of them. They're like these taboo socialists.
Yeah.
They're social deviants.
Yeah, they get run out of some towns.
They get run out of some towns. Judas and Jesus is why the betrayal was so much more.
I mean, and they like drinking wine at parties, right?
Yeah, I mean, endless supply. Jesus can just turn any water, any liquid.
Dude,
really.
if that should be okay. If you had an unlimited supply of red wine, at one point anyone's going to be gay. You're just it's like if it was 3 months deep and you're like fucking 7 days a week on like the happy juice, everyone's gonna
Wow. Put it on a t-shirt now. I need that merch now. So wise.
Right though? Come on. That's too
No,
much
you're right. I
fun.
agree with you. It is too much fun.
Yeah.
Jesus was like the first free love hippie. Like
Lilith was?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Lilith is not a free love hippie. Lilith is my love is not free. Don't look at me, don't talk to me, and I'm gonna kill your children.
Oh my God. So she's like on the Wednesday out. Okay. I was like,
I'm being
that's horrible for me. Those are all my triggers. I'm like, walk through the fire? Fuck yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're being mean to me? I'm in love with you. Thank you.
I'm going to build you a house.
Well, if you want to build Lilith a house, I mean, she'd probably be into it. She's not the biggest fan of men, but I think you could win her favor with that.
Yeah, I wonder. I like temples. I like the idea of temples, like holy places of worship. I miss them. I mean.
Yeah. Like not churches, like temples. You're talking like marble, stone, friggin' slab tables.
Yeah.
Weird ass. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like, I mean, I kind of miss the idea of church, but like, I was too involved with church to really miss it. I like the idea of like,
how do you feel?
Like this feels like church to me. Like we're both coming here with all our knowledge, trying our best, aimed at good.
Yeah.
That feels more like in line with the universe, right? Yeah, because like it's gone. I mean, I think the radicalists will stick around and grow, especially in states. But there's a mass exodus. Like
really of Christians, like in America right now.
Yeah,
and then the remaining ones are maybe becoming a little because Christian nationalism is like I'm seeing like
ramps
just
up.
From living out here, it's up. That's up.
And they got guns.
But like I miss the radical Christian like left, like those radical Christians, like the heretical Christians. I'm like yes, like badass. Do some Catholic magic.
Yes.
Like read the Psalms as if they're spells. Go feed all the homeless people in your area, like mutual aid, shit like that. I miss that.
Maybe we have to build this.
Yeah, like recruit.
Right. Yeah, we're moving to Amsterdam. That's what's happening.
Let's
start there.
I'm telling you, like you and I are going to email correspond, and I will send you some links of like, here's a loophole, here's how you do it.
Hell yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it is because it like if this is a Christian nation, and by the way, I love America because I love freedom. The idea, let's say, the idea of America in my head. We just tried to go get medicine now at the pharmacy, and it,
You and your wife?
Yeah, and it took like hours and cost because we don't have health insurance right now. So it's just like everything's a racket, and it's just so hard when living here. I'll see like a homeless woman with 2 kids in a basket, and then
Oh,
I'll
fuck.
see a fucking gold-plated Ferrari drives by. It's
Yeah.
just like,
But also, isn't that like that contrast? First of all, that contrast that you speak of, like I want to like passively just not exist anymore when I see too much of that. I'm just like, okay, humanity has like we've failed.
yeah,
Lilith,
it's like,
take me into the cave. Like I can't.
amen.
Like, this is so sad. It's too much. But it's also like the perfect example to bring up if we're talking about the Bible and Jesus, who like he saw that very issue essentially and rectified it. Like,
Yeah.
where, you know, and like the Christians that survive him are doing nothing to rectify this.
Yeah, the first ones the apostles did. They lived in a commune, sold
Yeah,
everything.
our Christians now, but like, let's go to the apostles because they're a sweet bunch.
They're sweet. Wow.
They're sweet.
Kind of. It's actually a little rough out there. I mean, growing up, there's always like people try to find good shit about the Bible to rep, and you know, they're like back then they'd be like, well, women were considered property, and so like the mere fact that Jesus even right.
Keep going.
Right. No, and for people just listening, the eye roll was the best thing. That was a birthday cake for me. But yeah, they try to boister up this angle, and it's like, no. I mean, it also says that women aren't allowed to speak, and that they can only be redeemed through childbirth.
In the apostles. This was after Jesus, huh? Because I'm not,
Yeah.
this is where you can really, like, I'll need some refreshers from you because I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm like all modernity, baby, like occultism, demons. I dip into antiquity for Lilith, but I can be rusty on the Bible.
Again, it's don't even I wouldn't even dip into it. It's
repressed in my mind, Vice. I had enough in my upbringing.
And that's to say is like, especially with us with the guilt thing where we're just like, I want to do good, you know, like it does somehow just attack that. It like a parasite, it attaches onto that.
Yeah.
So you got it's like right, you got to it's like a hall of mirrors. As you read it, you got to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, but all of the earliest books in the Bible we have are
New Testament.
The closest to Jesus are from the Apostle Paul. And
okay. Oh yeah.
So he never met Jesus in the flesh, and no
Really?
one around. No. He had a vision.
Okay.
In fact,
I love that. Love the
I
vision.
kind of do too, but he is a dick.
That.
I really.
He's a dick.
Well, he all of his books have the anti-women shit.
Yeah.
So it's like he might not be. He actually might be awesome, but the books accredited to him are like they're the worst.
Yeah. Heard that.
And then we have the books about Jesus, which are the four Gospels. Now those come in a variety of form, and the dates are like hotly debated, but I put them a little later. Because there's all these references to the temple being destroyed. Jesus says, I'll tear down this temple and build it in 3 days. Yeah, well, that was probably after this thing called the Roman-Jewish War. So the temple burns. So whoever's writing that, it seems like that. And the earliest is Mark. So that's like, that puts it at like 70-ish. So that's 30 years after Jesus died. So
yes.
Mark and Matthew, any of these books they're accredited to, the reason they're like the gospel according to Matthew is because he was probably dead and gone.
Yep.
So there's no eyewitnesses in these texts. They're based on oral traditions. And here's the other kicker. Jesus spoke Aramaic, and these were all written down in Greek. So we have
such an important fucking thing to note, huh? Yeah. There you go. The lost in translation shit. I can only fucking imagine, because with Lilith in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in Isaiah 34:14.
Yeah.
It's a translation error, really. And there's like, I think in the Christian, let's say like translations, so like the Christian Bibles, there's, I don't know, maybe 12 translations that do mention Lilith by name. And then there's 3 that call her like demoness of the night. Okay. And they're, you know, like the amplified edition, the voice edition, and like, what was it? The message. And they're all used. Do you know it?
I know of the Message translation.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
They're all used, but that one's like the Presbyterian one, I think. And then the Amplified is like fundamentalist, Baptist, and the Message is like New Agey. And these three like use Lilith by name, and they're like demoness Lilith, da da da. But the whole fucking thing was like a mistranslation of Lilith, which would have just been, you know, Hebrew for night hag.
Night
Or
hag? Like a
screech owl.
or what?
Like a night witch, or like screech owl, because it was supposed to be like, you know, an unclean kind of predatory animal. Kind of the Isaiah 34:14 is like the
Shit's going down.
Yeah, shit's going down. They're
Yeah.
constructing like this desert dystopia, right? Like after the judgment day. So you just have jackals, you have unclean animals, you have a night hag, you have a screech owl, like bad things. I think the Christian, the Vulgate version in the 5th century, that was
Okay.
Latin. So that would have been Christian because Latin, yeah. They said Lamia, which does have links to Lilith because the Greek myth of the Lamia is related to Lilith. But Lilith was never named originally. It was just like the Christians put her in there later, like way later.
Okay.
From a mistranslation. I just literally, sorry,
I'm having so much fun.
that all out because I'm just like, biblical translations get me so hot and bothered.
It's fun. At least we're doing it together because the hardest part of this podcast to me is it's all trauma based. So as you're talking through this shit, it's like a minefield of past problems. Yeah. So like, you could be doing it with someone better. So because what's the earliest reference to her in written text? Lilith, do we know?
Well, in Christian written text or like in written text actually?
Oh, sorry. Surrey just hopped in and tried to answer that for me for some reason.
Oh, Surrey?
Yeah, my computer.
Or Siri. Or Surrey, the city?
Oh, no, Siri, on the computer.
Siri.
She just answered
well, I wonder
Lilith.
what she actually had to say, but I don't want to.
Okay, yeah, let's not do it. So,
we'll ask her later. I don't know. I don't want her to weigh in. She's probably wrong. Sorry, Siri.
Don't trust them machines.
Yeah, no.
I'm kind of an analog guy.
Oh yeah, yep. Woodsy man. Sumerian.
Sumerian? So
Yes.
the oldest shit we have?
Yes, that's how old Lilith is. So predating Judaism, actually. She was so culturally penetrative from the Sumerians, building blocks through different centuries, cultures, geographies, etc. Lilith was always there, haunting humanity in different ways. Her mythology and narratives started stacking, and then because like the original Jewish peoples were of Mesopotamia and they were all neighbors, then they got some of this too.
Yeah.
And then so much credit goes to Judaism for then just like fucking taking the Lilith myth and adding such detail to the narrative. But how do I parse out the last 5,000 years of Lilith? Maybe
3
I
more
can
beers.
give you and I wish I had some whiskey.
Oh, dude, for real.
Okay, let me maybe it's helpful if I say what she was in Samaria or in Mesopotamia, basically. Sure. Okay. Sumerian Lil, Lil, is the etymological root of Lilith. And that was just the word for wind, breath, dust storm, dust cloud. But then, of course, with dust storms and dust clouds, you get an association with ghosts because you're a Mesopotamian person of antiquity and you see a dust storm in the desert or like dirt is whirling around. It's embodied. It's like a ghost. It's taking on shape. It's a thing, you know? We don't know the weather or something, you know, not to be anachronistic and be like, they were so silly and stupid. They thought it was a ghost. Like, absolutely not. They were wildly intelligent and advanced. But yeah. And then from there, we had Ninlil, who was a Sumerian mother goddess, lady of the air, because Lil became like this additive to words. And then in like slightly later, like Mesopotamian, still early, but like after the Sumerians or alongside the Sumerians with the Akkadians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians.
Okay. Yeah.
You had Lil being like the foundation, linguistic foundation of a category of like demons. So like you had 4 for the Lilu, Lilitu, R. Lily and Irdu Lily, which is basically like legion. So Lilith wasn't one singular entity. It was legion of these male and female wind spirits, and then male and female succubi.
Is that the Legion in the Bible? Because there's a demon in the Bible named Legion.
That could, I mean, it could be, but also the Christians are kind of obsessed with demons and legion in a way where, like,
oh dang it, yeah, I definitely am. Well, he's in the Stephen King books too.
What'd you say?
He's in the Stephen King books too. So it's like
Okay.
Legion. He's this guy called the Man in Black. He's in every Stephen King book. Well, sometimes he's
Are you
called.
serious? I love Stephen King.
Yeah,
He's
so
one of my favorite authors. I've read 3 so far. Harry,
yes.
Salem's Lot.
Oh, I'm about to do Salem's Lot. I just finished The Stand.
Okay, I'm about to do The Stand.
It was the pandemic. It's so crazy. It's like yeah. But there's a really killer series that The Dark Tower. If you
his sci-fi shit.
That's my that's
you like
my
that?
favorite piece of media. Yes.
Okay.
It has the best ending to end. It's hard to describe.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I've
people are like, this is funky King. Like, this is different.
My favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but he has this guy, Randall Flagg, in every story, the Man in Black is like Legion. And I think it's in the Stand. It's like, who are you? Wow. And it's like, we are Legion.
Okay, I love that whole, like, just we are Legion, or like anything involving Legion. I'm just like, yes. Love it. We contain multitudes. Like, yes.
Yeah. So Lilith was a part of this then at some point in history.
Yeah. Her mythic roots. Again, before Judaism. And I mean, Judaism in antiquity, you know, like before the Common Era, BC, BCE. Mm-hmm. Even when Lilith started being referred to as Lilith, not like Lilu, Lilitu, R. Lily, it was like Lilith or like Liliths, like plural. So like it was a category or like a group of these demons. And actually there were some male gendered Liliths and some female gendered Liliths. And they all did different scary things. Because the ancients would blame demons on, you know, like, or evil spirits on pestilence, miscarriages, wet dreams, sickness. Yes. I had to throw that one in there. Keep you on your toes.
I'm following every morsel of this shit. That's crazy. It's so funny that sexuality is so bad in every religion. I wonder how this. It
predates like our big 3. You know, like Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Like the sexuality being kind of sus predates. Like. Because even in Mesopotamian times, if a man has a wet dream, it's, oh shit, and R. Lily was visiting me, she took my semen, and now she's birthing more demons with my semen. Like, it's this, like, it's crazy. It's been around a long time.
It's kind of Maury Povich when you put it that way, right? This feels like Ricky Lake shit.
Oh, fuck. Jerry. Maury, the whole gaggle.
So this has been going on for a long time. And now we fight, wars over it.
Yeah. Now we fight wars over that. There's this neo-Gnostic Colombian guru / sex magician who I had to study, regrettably, because he uses Lilith in his system. He's such an asshole. He's dead. But I had to study him, research him. But he says semen is the battlefield. He's like obsessed with semen. Like, I'm actually encountering so much of my research like this year has been just like semen demons. I'm haunted by semen for like just like this little bisexual just wants to fuck with demons and Lilith and girl power. It's too much. It's been too much semen.
You're like having dreams of like freshly cut grass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that too far?
Simonic dew on top.
Why were we obsessed with it? And it's funny because the byproduct of this obsession is the most unhealthy mindsets towards sexuality in the humans in the congregation. Like
Yes.
Like everyone I know that got married in the church at a young age either completely hates their spouse and doesn't realize everyone else can see it,
Yeah.
or they've gone crazy. They
Off the
went on
rails.
a 35-year-old Romspringer, just like, out there doing coke now and like. I mean, you should at one point just do it when. Yeah, don't ruin when you got 4 kids and like a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the time. But
It's not the time. No.
But you mentioned earlier that Lilith was powerful.
Oh my God, yeah.
Tell me.
So powerful. You want to hear about this?
Yeah, you know me. I'm a Leo. You know me.
Okay, I have one really good story of Lilith's power I'm going to tell you. But before I get to that one, I'm going to tell you a way lesser known one. Because the story that I think most people know is Lilith is Adam's first wife before Eve.
Okay.
That's like the most common one. And that's, I think, in this day and age, because Lilith from the 19th century onward up until like now has been such a cultural fixture in like pop culture, pop occulture. Like she's everywhere. She's fully penetrated the mainstream. Like she's not just in these like Jewish midrashic texts or Jewish folklore. Like
selling books.
She's selling books. She's in Netflix series. Yeah. Like she's haunting 19th century pre-Raphaelite art. She's everywhere. But people think that like her as Adam's wife before Eve is like the origin story of Lilith, and it's not. That's like between 8th and 10th century, like CE, like common. It's recent. Like Lilith has been around since ancient Mesopotamian times. So let's dive into some of those myths, right? That people don't really know about. I'll give you one, and then I'll give you the juicy.
Hell yeah.
Myth. Okay, great. The later Mesopotamian demon queen / goddess Lamashtu. Have you heard of her?
No.
Okay, this is when Lilith was like a singular entity, but she just wasn't called Lilith. She was called Lamashtu.
Okay.
And the Lamashtu was like a conflation of different mythic tropes from like the Assyrian, Akkadian, Sumerian kind of like lilies, right? So that was usually like they were wind spirits. They were wind spirits of the night. So that comes coded with the evil. And if there's a feminine wind spirit of the night, those 3 things create like an inverted fertility goddess. So instead of life, it's death of children. So, which is where like Lilith's like child killing kind of mythic roots kind of laid its ground. And of course, you have the sexual component, the stealing semen.
Sure.
Lamashtu was fully like without the sexual component. It was only like the fucking rabidity and ravenousness and like cruelty of like the other Lilith myths.
Like death incarnate.
Death incarnate, the first vampire, like a proto-vampiric archetype.
Oh, this is my shit.
This is again, we're talking BCE, we're talking like mid to late like Mesopotamian period. So
clay tablets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lamashtu was gleefully malevolent towards humans. She would bring like pestilence, she would drink men's blood, suck the marrow out of their bones, strangle pregnant women like for fun, cause miscarriages, just kill children, not even just infants, all and any children, cause did I say famine, disease, drought, all of this.
Metal as fuck.
And she was gleeful about it, like about being this like huge threat to humans. But they revered her as a goddess as well because of the immense amount of power and fear that she held. Like, it had to give some cultural respect. And just to illustrate like how much power the Lamashtu had, people would do ritualistic kind of ceremonies or invocations of this demon Pazuzu, who was the demon king of the air and actually the demon who possessed Reagan in The Exorcist.
Okay.
Was Pazuzu. So he's like ancient, like proto-Satan. So he's like the guy. Like Pazuzu is like the Mesopotamian guy.
Okay.
And him and Lamashtu were like beefing, like demonic enemies. And the ancients would summon Pazuzu, who was a really scary like demon king, just to get rid of Lamashtu, like if they thought that their house was haunted by Lamashtu or something. Like use another crazy scary demon to get rid of this OG
The
Like,
devil, you know.
yes.
Yeah.
Even more powerful than the male demons of the time. Like this Lamashu, like this demon queen, like was kind of like the Satan, I would say.
Man, can you imagine the reverence these people must have had for this? Like some households you probably couldn't even mention. Like, we don't say that name. Like,
oh yeah, no, she who must not be named.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes, and they would go through such lengths to like trap her, but they would also worship her because she was so scary that they're like, if we show some respect, if we give some offerings, some sacrifice, you know, maybe she won't cause pestilence or death. But yeah, she didn't care about like stealing men's semen. She was like one of the Lilith kind of iterations that just had no kind of sexual seductive component.
Qualities.
She's just fury. Yeah. She's not Legion, but she had Legion for sure.
When does sex come in? Does it become a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sex comes in with the story.
Does.
As sex comes in always. Another tip of fear for this, huh?
Hell yeah.
Okay, sex comes in with the story that I was telling you is like the most famous one of Lilith. It was written about in the Alphabet of Ben Sirah, which would have been like, it's a Jewish text.
Yeah.
Like I said, Judaism fucked with Lilith. Like the ancient Jewish peoples had concepts of Lilith and Liliths. But then around between the 8th and the 10th century, some rabbis, anonymous, they wrote this midrashic text, which would have been like biblical commentary, the Alphabet of Ben Sirah. And it was supposed to be a satirical text. So the story of Lilith actually follows the story of a king who is lamenting about his daughter's like 1,000 farts.
Oh.
And they're talking about farts in like the 8th century. Like, isn't that so relatable? Isn't that just warm your little heart?
A little bit, actually.
Right? Fun fact.
Poo-poo pee-pee jokes all the way back. I mean,
Yeah.
were they trying to like put her down by associating her with flatulence? Was that like a dig?
No, that Lilith was not related to that story.
Okay.
So like it's like this biblical commentary. Think of it as like a magazine. It just had a bunch of different.
Yeah. I've never read it.
No, I've actually never read it in its entirety either. I don't have Hebrew, number one, and so I've relied on the translations, especially of the Lilith myth. There is this little conspiracy theory that it was actually like this Christian sleeper cell who wrote the Alphabet of Ben Sirah to make Jewish peoples just seem to discredit them, basically. Or it was, rabbis who actually were having like a little sense of humor, which isn't so far-fetched. And then like really. Getting into the Lilith thing.
Okay.
The Lilith thing, you'll know this because you know the Bible, you know your Bible. Genesis chapter 1, God created them, male and female, he created them.
In his
Genesis
likeness he created.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I think it's chapter 2, maybe verse 18. God said it wasn't good for Adam to be alone. He would make him a suitable helpmate. And then 2:21 maybe.
Yeah, two different deities. One is named Elohim. He creates the world in 6 days. But it's in verse 2:4b. There's this merism where they kind of squished. It seems like whoever put the chapters in there squished these things together. And there's a whole other creation myth, and it creates everything in a different order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is the issue. So that's what these medieval rabbis were reading this and being like, oh, there's a huge discrepancy. Like, why? Between chapter 1 and 2, we're going to fix this. So we're actually going to take the mythologies and the narrative, of Liliths, plural, that have been around our community, our Jewish community, forever. And there were Jewish religious texts written on Liliths before this. And also there's Jewish folklore, among the non-learned people about Lilith. So Lilith was very much within kind of the Jewish consciousness, culturally, religiously. But what these rabbis did is they essentially took the Lilith's legion and just made it into one figure, one woman, with all the themes of, from all of the past narrative, even from antiquity, because again, like the Jewish peoples were the neighbors of all of these other Mesopotamian cultures. So it builds. It's really like a stack, right?
Spoke
So
the
they
same
take
language.
Yeah, exactly. They spoke the same language. Like they interacted. They affected each other. They had financial and economic trade deals. Their myths interacted. Like they had communities together. So like, like, right. And it's so cool. Like,
Yeah.
to like think of like, well, anyway, that's a different rabbit hole. Getting back to Lilith.
Yeah, sexy.
Sex. So Lilith is one person in this myth, the alphabet of Ben Sirah myth. Essentially, she was Adam's first wife before Eve. Her and Adam were created from their own mounds of dirt. And then they coexist for a little bit in the garden, fine. And then the issue of sex comes up. And Adam wanted to be on top during sex. And Lilith was like, no, why should I submit to you when we were both created equally? I want to be on top. And he was like, no, you're going to be on. But like, so they had this power struggle with sex as the linchpin. And then guess what the fuck she did? This is to my point of how powerful she is. So he's like pushing it. And she's like, okay, actually, fuck you. She speaks the ineffable name of God, which how she even knew it in the first place, number one. But when you speak that name, it gives you power, right?
Yeah.
So she flew into the air and fled the Garden of Eden. I don't even like saying the word like fled or escaped.
Yeah.
Like this is clearly someone with agency.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know?
This is a choice.
She left. She flew away. She went to the Red Sea, which I have something to say about that in a hot sec. But then when she got there, she had a bunch of sex with all the demons and monsters that were there consensually because she decided to. She could be on top of all of them. And then she's a top, honestly. Like this is why I'm
rad. This is fucking
not
that's
pre-loved.
Cool.
She's like a femdom top.
Always on top.
Always on top.
I'm a team player.
And ball
you know
gag,
what I'm saying?
like,
yeah, I'm a team. Whatever you need, baby.
Yeah, she did not come to mess around. Like Adam, no, fuck you. And the small dick energy, I'm gonna go have sex with like a legion of monsters by the Red Sea. Like, would do. Also, no shade. Wow. Like, okay. Anyway, so then it gets juicy because she's having sex with all these monsters and demons.
It's not already juicy. This is the coolest story I've ever heard.
Is it really? Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like Jewish myth or, tales. Badass. Love this one. So she's having, a bunch of sex. And this is what I want to say about the Red Sea really quick before I get into more sex detail. It is like coded as this place that is similar to like in Isaiah 34:14, like the desert in Edom. Like the Red Sea is typically coded as this impure place that is just swarming with monsters and demons, and like it's not, kosher. But the Red Sea also has this big biblical theme of being refuge, sanctuary. Like Moses, when he was fleeing the Egyptians with the Israelites, parted the Red Sea, and the Red Sea kind of protected him. Yeah. Like that's where a place people who need refuge go. And so Lilith going there was like, no, this is my demonic sanctuary, and I will be the queen of this, space.
Wow.
Is what essentially happened. But it was like the first place she fled. I think because of the sanctuary component. And even like keeping in mind the, like the concept of sanctuary as kind of being like, you can't violate it, right?
Yeah.
God did send 3 angels to retrieve her because Adam was crying and lamenting, like, oh, my wife.
No wonder this story didn't make it in.
Right? I know.
It's like the Ben Shapiro of Bible stories. It's like,
and like, I'm thinking he heard Lilith say the ineffable name of God. So why didn't he also just say it and chase after her? No, he's too scared. Right. It like gives you so much, it imbues you with so much power. Like he was too scared of it, I think. He's crying. God sends 3 angels. And they're like, okay, you have to come back with us. Lilith says no. They say, okay, if you don't come back with us, we'll drown you. Lilith is like, you can't. I'm the queen of this place. Like, you can try, but it's not going to work. They're like, okay, fine. If you don't come back, we're going to kill 100 of your demonic children every day, because demonic reproduction works way differently than human reproduction. So she's birthing, like, she's having consensual sex and, like, just birthing, like, thousands of, like, they just, just spring out of her aura at this, like, it's not even like a demonic vaginal birth. Like, like, just her perverse sex is just creating in the world, like, demons. Wow. So the angels are like, yeah, we'll kill 100 of your demonic children every day. And Lilith is like, fine. Like, do it. Which is really, like, the anti-maternal. She's a badass bitch. She's like, that, like, for my freedom, like, fair. I'll just make more. And also, I'll kill human children. Oh. But if any human child is wearing an amulet with your 3 names on it, I'll spare the human child. But God actually created me to kill human children, so I actually can't go back because of that. And then in a later edition, this is like my favorite part. In a later edited edition of the Alphabet of Ben Sira, because like you're saying, it presents men as being like spineless. Like Lilith left Adam, she said no to 3 powerful angels, and she said no to God. Like, yeah. So later editors were like, no, we got to fix that. That's fucking not good. She's too powerful. No. And the way, because it's so bad. Like, they fucked up. They fucked up.
And now we have Andrew Tate, Like.
Now we have Andrew Tate. We need a Lilith, like, ASAP. Ugh. But the way that the later editors fixed this to kind of knock Lilith down a peg was basically, in this second edited version, Lilith told the 3 angels, oh, sorry, also, I can't go back because I already slept with the great demon, so I'm defiled for Adam, which, like, fell in line with, like, the purity codes, like, of the time, like, totally. So, like, within, like, a marriage, like, her and Adam, she has sex not only with someone else, but, like, with Satan, Samael. She's like, actually, because of that now, I just, like, I'm ruined for him, so I can't go back. And then after that, in Jewish texts, Lilith and Samael is, like, this demonic, like, power couple started. And that's, like, yeah, so, like, they're together now. Probably, like, maybe 13th century onward. Yeah.
Oh, my God. This is nuts? Amazing.
It's so fucking cool. And, oh, my God, P.S., by the way... Also, okay, oh my God. Okay, 2 fun things I forgot to mention. It's going to blow your mind. Number 1, the tempting serpent in the Garden of Eden, maybe like 14th century, 13th century onward. Some sects and even like some artists held that was actually Lilith, not Satan. Lilith was trying to save Eve from what she had escaped. And the reason that, God created Eve from Adam's rib of Adam was so this Lilith thing wouldn't happen again. He's like, oh, well, if I could create you another wife out of a mound of dirt, she's probably going to want to leave you too, because you're insufferable and you need power and you don't even care about your wife. You just want to be on top.
This makes too much sense.
So Lilith is now the snake. It's also rumored in certain Jewish, like, midrashic texts that Eve and the serpent had sex. And in some contexts, the serpent is Samael, but in some contexts, the serpent is Lilith. So we have some, like, very cool homoerotic shit going on, suggested, which I love. Obviously,
yeah, that's your schniz.
That's my shit.
Bring it all.
And bring it all. Give it to me. After the fall.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I know. I'm like, now I'm just like on my like fucking like soapbox, like demons and queerness.
I've been getting goosebumps. Like this fucking good stuff.
Lilith is there with you and like giving it to you. But when like after the fall, in certain Jewish texts, Adam and Eve separated for like a period of 100 and something years. Yeah, you're familiar. To atone, repent, etc. And Adam was visited by Lilith and her daughters, who like stole his semen and like birthed evil humans, like Cain. Well, actually, no, Cain is of Eve and Eve's sex with like Satan or Lilith, the serpent. Like they were both, when they were separated, they were both having sex with demons. Like not necessarily against their will, but not necessarily of their will. Which is happening. Yeah.
Well,
and, yeah.
Obviously, Adam was just not good.
Not the like that is a failed creation. God could have started over with that one, but he had to make 2 women. The second one from Adam just to deal with Adam. Like you know what I mean? Like
I'm crying.
Oh, and this is a good time for me to say not all men, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, yeah, I really like being a dude. I've always identified and, you know.
And you're a dude.
I'm a dude. Yeah, like I like punching shit and.
I love it.
But growing up but growing up around my sisters and my mom, because I was homeschooled, like,
oh yeah,
as a dude, you're really close to, you know, I'm protecting and providing, taking care of them because we live out in the woods, and I was building the house, and I started, you know, to be honest, they just became humans to me. At one point, I was just like watching what they were going through and just like deeply empathy. What is that?
Yeah, empathizing.
Yeah.
Oh, and, you have that?
What now?
I know. That's amazing.
Well, see,
you that's like ayahuasca or something to get empathy. Like you just developed it.
I don't know. I've always kind of. It might be growing up so alone. You know, when you're just walking around the woods talking to trees and shit for a while. That I just, whenever I was around another human, I was so excited that you can see the good in them, you know. But guy, I to be honest, all my friends, my close peer group, are men like this. They're not, you know, they're not, and like there's a lot of fake feminists out there that use it to try to get laid, like fake dude feminists.
Me boy feminists, nothing is like, it's so bad. We could have a session on
shit.
It's some fuck
shit. Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, I just don't keep them around me. I think I don't like them. You know?
No, it's very like it's disingenuous, and I just think you like authenticity.
Man, life's hard. Life's fucking hard, and we all need each other. And so by lying and fucking cheating, it doesn't really build the kind of future we need.
Life is fucking hard, and humanity is like kind of really scary. So just show up,
dude.
Just show up.
Just what a fucking put that on a t-shirt. Jesus Christ!
Oh, we're making merch today. Yes.
We might be making a whole separate podcast. We might be.
It's like lamenting about the human condition and talking about
the masculine feminine is such a sad thing to me too, because it's so complementary. It's so complementary, and like it can be such a healthy thing. And I've always my small fucking brain when I read Terrence McKenna, I was like, oh my, I know everything, you know. Yeah, right. You like him? Oh, dude.
I think he was like the incarnation of Jesus. I swear, like he was like the second coming of Christ. I fucking love Terrence McKenna,
dude.
R.I.P. Miss him,
dude. Yeah, he's a tranquil pool of fucking water, no matter what, man. That guy, like, I can't really ever imagine his hand shaking. You know, like.
Wow.
Command. Never. He always speaks with like kindness and love and just dripping empathy and like just like.
No, dripping it.
Man,
absolutely dripping it.
And he has that shit where like I wonder if it is alcohol. I've said this on here before, but like alcohol is such which I love. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying that, but like when I've had problems with it, like let's say I'm playing gigs and drinking like 15 cocktails a night for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
You get egotistical. You get like super into yourself, you know? And like as a dude, maybe that's not, you know, maybe that's not the best place to be, you know?
Oh yeah. That's actually
right?
Do you remember what I get like sometimes if I'm like wasted and I just decide
awesome.
Well, yes. Also,
You would be about to get in a fight with someone.
I know. Oh my God, you remember? Yeah, it's true. Well, not much has changed, and that's like my like dude friend was like, dude, like you need like sometimes the drunk Sarah, the drunk Brennan like personality comes out, and my dude friend was like, if you were a dude, you would like get your ass kicked. And I was like, well, actually, thank you. I was
yeah,
like,
no way.
But
no way. You'd be slapping bitches.
Exactly. Thank you for seeing me. But all that aggression in a male coded or gendered body maybe isn't the best. And it's not the best in my like little demonic femme body. People don't really love it all the time. You did. You thought it was entertaining.
I'll drive you anywhere you need.
Memories.
Yeah, that was that was fucking great. I needed that time at the bar too because I was so lost.
And that was great.
So fucked up.
Yeah. Out of you coming out of like that community and right, like
it was. Something? Yeah, kind of. I came out of a really crazy relationship. I try to talk about because I won a legal battle. So, and everything's good. So it's respectful now, but everything's great. But yeah, it turns out that being a really good dad and taking a lot of photos and having your kids be good is really great. So it worked out.
You have cute fucking kids. You really
I love them. They're so fun. They're so fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But so I was single dad in it, and I was in a country band, and that was my main source of income. And I love the band itself. Like the members are still some of my best friends, but like just hanging around the thought processes that I grew up with and watching them dominate and the ignorance, and like I was just like, no. Like, I need to get a job at a bar around interesting art folk that can fucking help me like put my mind together a little bit here. Yeah. It works too.
It works, yeah?
Yeah. Kylie just sold my house.
Yeah, no, I saw that on Instagram. Kylie, actually, I'm going to see her in a few days because she's Euro touring, her and Nate. I'm going to like have some I fucking love Kylie.
She's amazing.
And now she's killing it with the realty thing.
Killing it.
Career change. Love.
And of course, like if she could finagle all those crazies, you know what I'm saying?
Right? Like, she can sell a house to anyone after dealing with the drunk people that we. She was the best at dealing with them.
Yeah. Memory lane now. Fucking memory lane. Yeah. Maybe she embodies a little bit of Lilith,
Oh yeah, for definitely like the cool, calm, and collected. Before like the bat comes out.
Yeah. Do you think there's any hope to recover like balance between the masculine and feminine in society?
Oh my God! Like, don't I hope so?
Right?
Like really, like it's really. I'm happy you asked me this because I don't actually like get into this thought process too often because I'm kind of like in my own head I just daydream of like these queer utopias where like
amen.
Everything is a little more like fluid and just like I'm a little kind of like leftist, so I'm like big on like Marx and like Malatesta and like the anarchist kind of philosophers, where like society can actually just be structured in terms of like you give what you're able to give, you receive like what you need to receive, like life is beautiful, the sun is shining, all of these trees that are blooming fruit it's free for anyone to pick from. Like, you don't need to be so rich. You don't need to be so poor. Like, we can all just, like, utilize the land. And, like, we can make the Garden of Eden, like, here and now, all over again, if we want.
Oh, amen.
We can do it over. We can do it better. Like, we can do it better than fucking Adam did. Like, for me, I'm like, that's communism in a queer utopia. But that is an unpopular opinion.
It is. You're challenging some of my thought process, though. That's for sure.
Well,
but I mean, that's because that's what I agree. It's like, why shouldn't we be able to do this now? And it's if you just give, and you just give,
Yeah.
The pay it forward shit. I know I'm not trying to go like live, laugh, love, Pello territory.
No,
Like actual giving,
absolutely.
actually helping society, actually caring about people and their humanity and their their individuality. It's like, why can't
Exactly.
we live in an utopia right now?
Why can't we? Why can't resources be like evenly distributed? Like, why there shouldn't be homeless people? We have more than enough money circulating and food circulating and empty houses not being rented out because like the housing bubble is so fucking insane right now, and they're just fucking
Mm-hmm.
sitting there
Yep.
waiting for someone to pay $4,000 a month and no one fucking can. Like, there
Yep.
shouldn't be like a showroom with like a bed and pillows on it, like an IKEA showroom,
Mm-hmm.
and like a homeless person sleeping a few blocks away on a bench, but there's a bed inside this building. Like what? Like, it's just, I know it doesn't make sense in terms of like the capitalist paradigm, but I feel like if we
Right.
actually brought it back, like you could bring it back to like Garden of Eden, or you could bring it back to like what Jesus did, was like, no boundaries, no taxes, no landlords, resources for everyone, food for everyone, wine for everyone, like
Dude,
bread and fish.
I'm gonna run your campaign. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
No. You can't give me that much of an inflated ego right now, because I will try to be a little dictator, and like I'm a benevolent dictator. Okay. So,
But I want to be at that party. I'm not gonna lie. If you're the fucking dictator, I want an invite.
oh, this is like the best compliment I've ever gotten. Thank you.
I'll build you that fucking palace. I'll bring,
Yeah,
I'll bring
yes,
everyone.
please.
Bring the whole fam.
You could build me a house. You could build me a house.
You know, yeah, it's I try not to let
Oh.
people know I could do that. You know,
I
because
know,
then you
I
end up
actually
doing
love
it. But I would build you a bunker for real. I've been actually like.
And then we can restore the masculine and feminine, which I think is what you asked me, which like
Yeah, totally.
I'm so sorry.
I'm just so excited. Every word you're saying, I'm like, I'm kind of constantly crying. I'm so happy. My eyes just keep watering.
Is that good? I have that effect on men.
Yeah. Well, I've watched that I've seen that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I feel like, okay, let's go back to Andrew Tate. These inflated extremes on both sides, left, right, politically, male, female. Everyone has an opinion on everyone's personal humanity, sexuality, and what they want. It's so weird. But like, that is obviously just a byproduct of the imbalance. That's obviously just a hole that's left in, in society. I'm talking to the front of my knowledge here, so I don't really know, but like,
no,
somewhere.
That's such a good fucking point to make. It's just so simplistic.
Yeah, it's like that's.
Like, do it.
We need to take some penicillin. Get rid of this fucking Andrew Tate shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is, he needs Jesus, but like historically accurate Jesus, not a biblically accurate Jesus, not like Jesus of today, like not white Jesus. Like he needs little socialist hippie Jesus.
Yeah. Bernie
Sanders. So like had a woman as his confidant, not like like Andrew Tate is such a wild fucking example of like this imbalance of which you speak.
Yeah. And sad too.
It's really sad because it hurts men too, I think.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Tate is basically like teaching a generation of younger boys to just be really fucking lonely.
Yes.
Like, because they'll never love a woman, because they'll never respect a woman. So they're just treating a woman like a property, but then they don't have like this intimate companion. They're just lonely. And loneliness is like the killer, the mind killer. It's the spirit killer.
Yeah. It's solitary confinement in prison, right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they do at the darkest level to try to break you.
That's true. Fuck, dude. Oh shit, this is bad.
Well, now I'll go a good way. So
problem. No.
Okay, you got it. You got a good way. Okay.
Oh, existential crisis. Oh.
Well, there's Robert Sapolsky is this evolutionary biologist that I like, and he studied these. Oh yeah, in Africa he found this baboon troop, and this is like this happened a long time ago, maybe 10, 15 years, I feel. But him and his wife lived with them, and they like embedded with them, and then they left. when they came back, all of the baboons, a resort had moved into the town, and the baboons started eating the trash, and all the alphas died off because they were taking all that shit first. And so they have this baboon tribe of like the beta males that weren't being accepted now started getting groomed by the females. And they came back and observed them. They live in harmony. They live in peace. They share resources.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's documented. So it's like,
yeah, this,
okay. And so I wonder, I wonder how there is a bridge back, especially, with bringing into account the spectrum of humanity, that we all are, the prism of humanity we're all projecting through, whatever.
That's actually such a good point too, or important, because like we're both Westerners coming at this from like with our Western perspective, and like so often, like I get depressed at the state of sexual and gender relations, and like how queer people or people of color or migrants like fit into this like within a Western context. Oftentimes forgetting also like, oh shit, in the Middle East this, or in India this, or in Africa, like it's like my brain sometimes can only take so much dystopic reality that I defer to like my own like sphere, like the West. And then I'm like, when I start thinking like, oh, maybe things could actually start getting better, there's some ripple effects of like, these movements like Gen Z and Gen Alpha are like really fucking coming in hot. But then it's like the whole world we have to consider also. It's like, that's where for me, I get like existential dread.
At the same
big.
Yeah, and like when I'm so sorry I forgot her name, but she got killed for not wearing the hijab.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name either off the top of my head right now. Yeah. You're stoned, I'm drunk, but also so many women dying constantly that it's like fuck.
Yeah, it is. It's a little scary.
It's like an overload for us.
Well, yeah, and you're really smart, so you're like holding all that shit at once, and that's the problem is you can't hold it all at once, and then it's like, and it's like, people call it depression, but I really think it's actually just intelligence.
Oh my god, love that hot take. Amen for that hot take.
Right, it's like. We have a thing called Citizen, an app. I don't know if they have anything like that over
in the
there.
States.
Yeah, because it will like alert you whenever anything police activity is around you, and it's fucking horrifying. Like the stabbings, the shootings, it's like, oh shit.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
that's scary. That's dystopic.
Yeah, I mean, we're like in a neck and neck race constantly to like evolve into this like orgiastic, like beautiful, kind, nurturing hive mind society, and just like it's just Donald Trump and Putin wearing diapers and just like ashes and rubble. It's just like fucking. It's like, how can it be neck and neck with these kind of extremes?
No. We actually can't get there. We literally just can't. Like, they're not even playing the game that we want them to play at this. Like I want that utopia where like moss is growing over all of the fucking Amazon buildings that are abandoned, and like they're just like fucking like, I don't know, like safe houses now, or like food shelters. Like, I want that utopia where it's orgiastic and like the body is like taken care of, instead of worked away at and etched away at by the vampire of capitalism. Like, I want that. Spectre. I think Karl Marx actually wrote so much about capitalism as a vampire. He like loved monsters.
I've never read any of that shit. I did live in Russia for a hot minute, but like I never really. Yeah, I worked at a Bible college in Russia.
No way.
In
How
Moscow.
do you like live in like a communistic country? I don't necessarily think that Russia or China they don't necessarily do communism in alignment, in my opinion, with like the amazing communist theory. Yeah, but also America does not do democracy in alignment with like
there's no democracy.
Actual democracy at all whatsoever, theoretically or realistically. Boom. End of sentence. Fuck.
Fuck,
So
yeah. But I mean, I loved it.
I didn't like it.
I loved it because, I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to like talk to
Yeah.
people about Jesus. So it was the trip I went on to see if I could live this lifestyle, because that's like abstinent and, you're constantly focused on reading the Bible and,
Wow.
working in churches. And so I made all these friends over there and we all just played music all day and sang and harmonized. And they were all like better. They could all play like 5 instruments. They could all like sing perfectly. And
Russia.
like in Russia, all my buddies, yeah, there would be like a out of tune piano and a fiddle and like borscht. And it would just like in public, they were like stone, which is like funny because the last night I went nuts and just like swam in fountains and was like posing just like upside down. And just like the reactions in the background are so funny. But I found them to be like the sweetest, warm, like, I mean, in their homes, like welcoming people that are living life. And like, none of the people I met had much, very small apartments, huge families living in the apartments, like multi-generational, but they were
like,
fucking happy.
They were happy. That's the thing. It's so silly that I cannot remember this man's name, but he was a man of color. I think probably in like the 1950s during the American like Red Scare, which like historically hilarious. I think that Russia and the U.S. teamed up in World War II. Like Russia did so much of like that fucking heavy lifting against fascism, and then right after World War II, the rest of the West was like, oh, actually, fuck Russia. Like, bullshit.
And they're like, we don't have any men anymore. Like,
yeah,
they
exactly.
killed them all.
Like Russia is like manless. Like you need like some kind of semblance of balance. But this man, so this man of color in America in the 1950s who was a member of like the American Communist Party and an activist, he went to live in Russia for 10 years. And then of course, when he comes back, it's the Red Scare. So he's getting questioned, like by the government of like, as so many people were like academics and anybody who would ever go to Russia or even Eastern Europe, like it was a witch hunt. It was like communist.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
And I remember, witch hunt, always
Why? They're so cool.
They're so cool. Why would you hunt
we
them?
want them? We hunt them out and give them things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This man of color wrote or like he either wrote in a letter to the accusing body or said this in court and it was transcribed, but he was essentially like, okay, I was in Russia as a black man and I felt nothing but like camaraderie and brothership and warmth, and nobody actually was treating me like how a black man gets treated in America. Like people were just seeing me on a human level that I actually wasn't used to, and it like took me aback. And so if you want to attack me for being sympathetic to Russia, then actually do so, because when I lived in Russia, I felt like the most like humanness that I had ever felt, essentially. Like, I think it's funny we're
what a
talking about
shortcoming
for how we're here, but also I love this, so let's keep going.
Yeah,
I remember what you said that like made me say that. I'm a little tipsy now. I
good. No, I hung out there for good. This is, I was stoned as fuck right at the bat, so like we're evened out. I mean, because maybe we can figure out the balance, because like right, maybe now if we're at this level,
I would love
where you would love to what?
I'd love to figure out the balance. I would love it if society could just get it together and figure out the balance, please.
It's like we need an adult, but everyone that's an adult in our society are the worst now.
The politicians who are supposed to be the adults are the worst. Geriatric.
It's very strange. Maybe it starts there too. It's like anyone who wants to be a public servant, like, hats off to you. No one wants to do that job. I get it. If you get to the level where you're a Congress or a representative of anything, thank you. But like, at what age should you not be allowed to? I'm sorry. Like, if you're 86 years old,
90 even, like, It's a joke. It's bad. Like there should be age caps. You have to be, I think, 35 to run for president, and that has not been adjusted for like the life period increase generally since the founding of the country. I just think Americans have like this unique thing of like, we can't necessarily ever touch the Constitution because it's Bible, it's holy, it's sanctified, but it's also not.
No.
So many European countries just always like update and amend their constitutions because they've been around for like since the Middle Ages. Like America is a baby. It's so new. It's not even 300 years old. Like it's okay to touch your Constitution or your Declaration of Independence. You can change it, babe. Like you can make edits.
Yeah, you haven't redone your makeup in fucking 300 years. Just fucking go in the bathroom, wipe off all the cocaine,
wipe the cocaine off your nose,
powder off. Let's get. It's just Jesus Christ. Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. In fact, it's going backwards, it feels. That house we had up there, it was in a really small town.
Was it in Seattle? Like where in Washington were
Buckley.
You? Is that near Olympia?
It's actually right near Mount Rainier. So it's
nice.
Yeah, it's like a little country. Well, not, it was actually pretty huge because it's the country, because it's a big backyard. And, yeah, it's like there literally isn't a mailman because the town was so small.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I love this town. I love the people of this town. I got through some heartaches there. Some, drinking at the local bar. A lot of loggers.
Oh yeah. Nannies.
Fucking the motherfucking Trump flags. The "Don't Tread on Me." Like this, the
total
the
misunderstanding.
Stop the Steal.
Don't tread on me. Like that's not like
misunderstanding.
That's like anarchistic like shit. Like that's just been poorly appropriated. Stop the Steal flags, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's like, and yes, we're such a mess. We've been. Unfortunately, it feels like we're these spoiled children that have been like wound up. And I'm actually totally afraid of this next election cycle. Like,
me too.
No one's happy.
No, because Biden is running again as well. Is that actually happening?
Because we're so offensive with religion. I never try to talk about politics on here. Because it's like,
but you're a controversial podcast.
we do get a lot of prayers. We get a lot of prayers.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few online trolls because of my work, like with Lilith, and I love that. And
that's just because you're more attractive than them, and they get mad. They're like, she's smart and hot. Fuck.
See what happens? You work with demons. It's the fountain of youth.
Your spirit grows. Yes, from the inside, you become more beautiful every day. You haven't seen this? It's like the opposite of Scientology. It's like the opposite of LA.
So yes. The demons want to work with you. Join our church. I hope you'll get prayers for that. I hope.
Yeah.
If you get any prayers because of this, you better let me know. I love that shit.
I will. I might even get texts from old evangelical friends.
Oh, do they watch your show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Isn't it funny?
You talked about demons before.
We haven't really talked about demons, no, because the Bible's just so ridiculous, and what I have found,
to cover.
it's almost impossible to keep a cohesive conversation if you're reading through the Bible, because
100%,
and I'm not saying I don't love certain aspects of it, and I think as long as you keep it like a poem or like what are the life lessons you can learn from, like the Good Samaritan's the shit. The two priests do the bad thing, the bad guy does the good thing. That's fucking sick. Be the guy, even if everyone thinks you're the bad guy, do the good thing. Like,
love that.
Fucking
actually
sick. Yeah, right. And
we're coming back to that after you finish your point, because I want to hear what you have to say. But we're going to talk more about bad guys. But continue, because this is interesting.
Yeah. So as we're reading the Bible, it's hard to keep I'm showing Jeff because I've always quoted it at him, and he's like, he gets confused and angry. So we haven't gotten to any juicy shit. And the demons, we encountered some in this. It's called the Book of Enoch.
Yes, I love the Book of Enoch. Are you kidding me? The Watchers.
Dude, that was the
all
first
that.
time I've ever read that shit. I've
It's
never
so
had
good.
any. It's
Juicy.
crazy.
Juicy. It's
Juicy.
so like these fallen angels, these beautiful, divine, like creatures of God who teach humans magic, math, makeup. Actually,
Makeup?
sometimes
Yeah,
Azazel taught makeup and war strategy.
totally.
One of my favorite fallen angels. Like now they're demons. Come on, like who's really the bad guy? How are we constructing?
A
You know I fuck with
motherfucking
monsters.
man.
A fucking man. My shit. That's what I use to analyze Lilith and all this. Like, why are we making them monsters? What purpose is that serving? Like, these are beautiful angels who are breeding, having sex with human women. Because how could they not? They just taught them how to wear makeup. All of a sudden, human women are attractive. I love the concept of angels having sex with women. Like, I
do
love
too.
the concept of like this divine fornication.
It's in Genesis 6 too. It's in the
Is it
canonized
really?
Bible. Yeah, the Nephilim.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
What verse is the like? Do you have this
Genesis
handy?
6:4. And in those days there were giants, and in those days the divine beings of God saw that the women were beautiful, and copulated with them and
Copulated.
created giants. It's something. I think it's like that. I
Yes?
used to have it memorized.
I love.
But like,
No, I'm literally wild. Like I'm blown away. I'm so impressed.
and like because if even that makes it through, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously we know now from this vantage point, it's been redacted, it's been edited, it's gone through social
much.
change, economic change, linguistics. But like if they left that big of a chunk in right in the beginning, what does this mean? Like,
Yeah. What actually? If that's the chunk that they left in, then like imagine what. Yeah, that's a good
Right.
point. That's a good fucking point.
yeah, of course, right?
It's too juicy to be canonized.
And it sucks because like, man, I'll tell you one thing: if you are like an Andrew Tate guy, you know, like let's say, I doubt there's anyone listening, but like let's say you are.
You.
You do you want to attract a mate? Do you want to be a badass motherfucker? Learn how to be fucking nice. Learn how to respect everyone. How about you learn how to treat your partner the way they deserve, like someone should treat you?
Oh my god.
I mean, it's weird, but guess what? It actually works.
Actually works.
Yeah.
Cosplay as one of these fallen angels seducing human women. Like, just be a method actor.
Yeah. They already showed us, and that's it. The fucking small dick energy, fucking those guys got in there. They're at a bar out in the desert in Jerusalem. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
we hate all these guys getting laid all the time. They're fucking demons. Rah, 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 rah.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yo, what the fuck? You actually just blew my mind. Hold
I
on.
think so, right? I don't know. This is the first time I'm thinking.
Oh my
this
god.
shit, so.
Yeah, no, this is a good thought. I co-sign it. This is like a demonic pickup artist conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy theory. Fuck. Do you see? You see what's happening?
I do, and I love it.
See, now we're on the same level. Great.
That is great. That is great. We just need Sam here with some edibles, you know.
Oh my
And then we
god.
could- he's the best, right? I love him.
Totally the best. Sam, if you're like,
Yeah, he might be listening. Dude, he's yeah. There's certain people you meet, and you're like, oh, I've known you forever.
Yep. Can't
Like,
forget.
Dude, I've loved you since I fucking hugged you. We like hugged once in the entrance of Kings, and I was like, I love you. What's your name?
Yes. 100% yes.
Yeah, you know, and I like this idea of open banter about religion and specifically without sexual or dogmatic boundaries. You know, like I have so much. This has seriously been this is the most fun. I'm having the most fun, and it's kind of nerve wracking for me because I don't know if everything I'm saying is true. I'm just saying what I feel. You know, like
I'm having fun too.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's fucking shit. That's shit. Maybe we need to go to the Red Sea
It's really on my bucket list. Like, so hardcore for sure.
Dude, maybe we should go. I'll bring my wife. We'll go out. We'll party and
I'm
then we'll but we won't party a couple days so we can go archaeological shit.
I would like to do some archaeological digging because I actually feel like you and I could potentially do what archaeologists of the past 100, 200 years haven't been able to do just because we're insane and passionate people. And like, I have like the demon shit and you have the biblical shit, and we could probably just go.
It is the balance.
I think this is the balance. Like, we can go find the portal to Lilith's lair.
Dude.
We can go. I feel like she likes me. I feel like if she were real, let's say, all of this like work that I'm doing on her, I think would garner favor.
Yeah.
Like from like an occultist perspective, like since I study historical occult figures. Even from that perspective, I think that the fact that I just like write and research about her and talk about her would garner favor.
Well, and you kind of embody a lot of her spirit. I feel like you do a very good job of like being a strong, kind, loving. Oh,
that just tops the last compliment you gave me about you're going to run my presidential game. This is the best compliment I've ever received. Thank you.
We're still gonna run that.
I'm running on the Lilith platform. Yes.
Well, I mean, remember the Lilith Fair? That was pretty popular.
Yeah, tragic that I was never able to attend. Oh.
Some pretty fucking banging artists on that shit.
I know. What was it? Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple.
Tori
Amos. Actually, that would be the two best to see on there.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I love Fiona. I love Tori. Lilith Fair, badass. Yeah, the feminists did a shit ton of like stuff with her in the 90s, early 2000s.
And but we're trying to take away their fucking choice of their bodies here. It's like,
what about this angle? Once again, if Lilith is real, like, why not? Like, why not suppose she is? Because there's all these Christian nationalists in America that believe God is real. And actually, like, jury's still out. I'm not saying whether or not he is. I'm just total academic about this. I'm just being intentionally vague. So you don't know how I feel, really, because I'm being recorded. So what if, let's say God's real. So that would mean, okay, fine, Christian fundamentalists and Christian nationalists, then Lilith is real. I wouldn't be so worried about like God smiting anything down right now. I would be worried about actually like Lilith just like parting the fucking dirt and rising up from the depths of hell in which she rules and just wreaking havoc in America in particular, because America is for some reason the cultural beacon of the West and sets the tone. Very strange, very undeserved. It's post-World War II nonsense. There has been many decades since then. America is taking away abortion rights. I'm not a big fan. I think Lilith is going to, if she exists, it's only a matter of time. She's going to manifest.
Well, that super volcano is waking up.
Is it in Washington?
Yellowstone. The whole Yellowstone, the entire park is it's the biggest, it's one of the biggest, it's huge. They call it a continent killer.
Oh my God, Leif. Like, okay, what? No.
We're barely outside of the blast range.
This is more reason for you to move out here. But this reason is less, like, utopic and more pragmatic.
Yeah, it's
crazy shit, dude. That's fucking nuts.
And if I didn't watch The Last of Us recently, too, I think I'd have a little bit more.
I can't even touch that. Yeah.
Dude,
so you watched that.
There's this amazing episode. I have to tell you about it because you should probably watch just this one, because it's like there's this story, this post-apocalyptic story, and then the third episode is just this random love story that you don't expect at all, and it's Nick Offerman.
Yes, Ron
Swanson. Ron Swanson is in this town, and when the government comes in and starts rounding everybody up, he's in a bunker in the basement watching with a gun, and when everyone leaves, he goes to Home Depot, builds a fence and a defense all around the town, and he like grows garden. He has animals. He has like a utopia. Like the entire town is his, and he's always alone playing piano, eating. And then in one of his traps, a man falls. And I don't want to say too much, but it turns out that it's the best love story in the world. It's the most beautiful.
Erotic?
It's yes. Oh, dude, it's like the Notebook level for me.
Oh
Like,
my
it's
God.
it's like one of the best love stories I've ever seen. It's just like 45 minutes. It's amazing.
Okay, beautiful. Maybe I'll watch just that episode.
But yeah, it
Because I
sparked.
do, like,
Yeah, sorry.
well, no, I like the idea of like love prevailing
Yeah,
in dystopia. First being like Nick Offerman's character and the love of the land and the animals and himself and his hobbies, and then being the love with another person.
yeah.
Fuck.
Which was denied his whole life because it's counterculture to the society he grew in, and like it's just
Oh,
like,
of course.
yeah, it's so good, dude.
Oh,
You
wow.
see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's so great, and they do it perfectly. Like I don't know the other actor, he was amazing though. But like, and I love that love wins. I think that's actually why I'm kind of like romanticized Jesus in my head because
You can absolutely romanticize. That's valid. Jesus is
he's a giving, loving, protective, like the God of the universe comes down and gets tortured for you.
yeah.
That's some love.
I mean, it's metal and it's love. It's beautiful. It's like asceticism and love. Jesus is one of the most loving historical figures like of all time. As are actually like so many of those crazy Catholic saints that I fuck so hard with that like do crazy shit like orgasm in front of sculptures or eat people's scabs. Like
what's the orgasm in front of structures? What?
Wait a second, orgasm?
Wait a second. Sorry, what'd you say?
What is it? Saint Teresa of Avila is like the orgasming ecstatic saint.
Wow.
It's like having orgasmic visions of God and Jesus, and like there's like that statue of her like orgasming in front of an angel with like an arrow about to stab her, but it's like good pain.
See, this is why it works because I have zero experience with fun shit, and you know all the fun shit. Because like what? Who wouldn't go to church if there was orgasms being passed out?
Yeah, exactly. Amen. Right? Seriously.
Dude.
Amen. Anyone orgasm.
Fuck the free cookie and coffee. I want to come hard, bitch.
Oh, God. Iconic.
I think we're building a church. I think that's what
I
it
think
is. It'll be a
actually- Like what's happening here tonight is very much like we're building either like a political movement or a church or like just like a fucking commune.
Yeah, we might just
So
have
down.
to. We just have to get some people that are good at investments so we can buy an island. And we can.
I know. We can pander to the ultra rich's guilty conscience of hoarding wealth.
Well, yeah, that's funny. That's another thing I've never been into because the Bible's so against it.
Exactly.
And I've had moments where I had like a lot of money because of the band.
Yeah.
And then I've also I was in a band and we toured for an entire year. I made $8,000.
Damn.
We were like stealing
For
potatoes.
1 year?
1 year of work. We were like sleeping in national parks, out there, crashing in fans' houses. Yeah, it was like we only had enough. That all went to the gas tank, basically. So it's like,
Of course.
and I'm not gonna lie, those years were kind of more fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Like-
it's kind of fun when you have to hustle and just like figure it out, isn't it?
Right? It's like keeps you engaged as those primal shit inside of us.
Yeah. Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
Yes. Yes. That
Like-
cortisol is always pumping.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing our church now have like an American Ninja Warrior course to like. I'm joking.
I'm not opposed necessarily.
You're like you have to eat these mushrooms, and then you have to like run the gauntlet.
Yeah. If we can bring some like Terrence McKenna vibes into our church, that's fine.
Do you fuck with psychedelics?
I really do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. They help
Really?
a lot. Oh yeah.
You help a lot.
They help a lot. And
If
like,
I can help- oh, what?
go.
Well,
You're so kind. You're the best.
It's such a cute conversation. Just like consistently adorable. I love it. I'm very grateful for you.
Now I'm all red.
Oh, that's okay. It's the marijuana.
No, I'm tough.
You're so tough. Very your name is Leif and you're a Viking descendant and you're so tough.
But I'm kind of a medium Viking. I'm like 6 foot. So like everyone else was bigger.
Oh yeah, you're Viking.
yeah. That's yeah. I'm fast.
Yeah, well, necessary, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's worked out, but
everyone has their skill set.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's weird coming. I think I have dual citizenship, so I've been wanting to look into that actually.
There's your loophole, actually. Then yeah.
Dude, we're coming to Amsterdam with you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, just get that EU citizenship and then live in Amsterdam. You can live anywhere in the EU. There's some nice nature around here. It's cute. It's cozy.
Yeah. It's like a very real conflict inside of me.
We'll just give it some time, and I'll just keep like dropping little tempting sprinkles. And
yeah,
then
well, I'll have to move there eventually because the campaign will just be too busy. I'll have to be managing too many people, so you can get like your mud baths, and your the things to keep you centered.
I need to touch grass 3 times a day, or else.
Do you have that thing with grass? You like that shit too?
I have I need to sit on grass or touch a tree, or there has to be something. I can't just be all buildings and cobblestone.
Yeah.
Or I microdose mushrooms.
Yeah.
A good amount. And if I do, I'm not drinking. I get very serious where alcohol and mushrooms aren't friends, and the mushrooms are doing stuff inside of me. So I'm going to let them respect their process.
Yeah.
I've never fully tripped on mushrooms. I really want to. I've tripped on ayahuasca. And for me, I was I just dove straight in.
You don't really need much more if you.
I think
that's as far as it goes.
That was my first psychedelic ever. And I was like, oh, no.
Whoa.
Actually, this was God's medicine. Yeah, I know. With no other,
You're no other. The sidewalk just ends right here. I guess I'll jump.
It was fucking nuts. And
was it good? How long did it last?
Actually, quite short. I mean, it felt endless. Obviously, it felt like eternities, but I think it lasted 3 hours, and then the second round. No, first round 3-4 hours. Second round 2 or 3 hours. I'm doing it again early next year. There's a lot of retreats in the Netherlands where you can do it legally here because it's a spiritual drug. It's a religious thing.
Wow.
Getting the calling again. I've never been I'm so happy. For months and months after I do it, I feel like my inner child just takes the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucking nice.
Yeah. See, I've smoked DMT a lot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm so curious about that. Actually, it's so spiritual.
Yeah. It definitely brought back all the positivity with spiritual experiences for me.
Okay, nice.
Because I used to just be so against Christianity for a minute there.
Understandably, understandably.
Yeah, I tried to give myself some grace, but I still thought I wasn't objective enough to I just kind of didn't sit with me right because it's kind of like someone talking shit about their ex. It's everyone talks shit about your ex. How about you stop? Don't talk shit about your ex.
Yeah, okay.
That's way cooler.
Yeah. Because I was traumatized by my ex, and you guys just watched it.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah. So, and it definitely came in those moments. So, if you take 3 hits of it, you'll have the trip. And one night I took 14.
What? No.
Yeah. So,
real?
Yeah.
How did you come back?
So I ended up getting a job a week later that that actually made real money. My life a week later was instantly fixed. Yeah. Plug some pilsners. Yeah. DMT is such an intense experience because it's instant and it's very quick. Even good trips sometimes only last 3 minutes. If you
feel it's lasting longer.
So my trip sitter friend who was there with me, he said it was a little over an hour. I was under, and it was
That's
a billion,
so long.
trillion. I got to go be like, I was Van Gogh for a minute. I was Ryan Adams. I got to be Mick Jagger. Life was a Rolodex, and I could just like look through anyone throughout history and go live like right through their eyes. Weird universes made of nothing but potential, I guess is what you could say. It's so hard to describe. It also made fun of me.
Yeah.
Made fun of me a lot. And so,
As they do.
I'm okay now. I'm so high. I'll be yeah. So like, you know, sex was always like, you have to save it for marriage. And my family, everyone but me saved their first kiss for the altar. So you're not even allowed to.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. So that's the level of repression. You know, so like when I had done this, I was single, you know, and I didn't even know. I thought God would smite you with a lightning bolt, essentially, if you had sex outside of a, you know, and so
very common belief, yes.
So I get transported to this realm that is all like clip art, like South Park, and it's just like guys and girls' butts spinning. Like you could just, and it's just like 12 or 15 of them hanging in, and there's this bad porn music playing. And this voice appears in my head. It's like, you know, like, this voice is like, you've been having a lot of sex, slave. And it was like, I was like, It's like, it kind of like mockingly made fun of me. It's like, that's only one level of connection and vibration. And there's so many deeper. And you're like getting caught up in this one and then instantly shot into this other realm.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and then, you know, brought you on your journey. That's fucking hilarious. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so weird. And to have one of the, I mean, ayahuasca is the same thing. So it's like, if you have a piercing the veil moment, you're like, to me, it was like standing next to the ocean. You know, I'm like, I am tiny.
Yeah. The tininess aspect of it is
Sobering. Sobering to say the least. Yeah.
Sobering. But it's also like, oh, I am continuous. It was like my things. That like in a good way. It's like, oh, I go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And like, so that this is just like a little side quest like that we're doing.
Which is so weird to say aloud because, you know, like, think of the first time your heart got broken. And then just be
right.
Like, it's like, it's fucking, wait, this is a side quest? This fucking.
Our whole lifetime is a side quest. And yeah, like, go back to like the first heartbreak and like, oh, doesn't feel so much like a side quest when you're living it, but.
No, but it very well could be. And because you still see out your eyes when you're over there. You're like, that's the weird part is you're like, you're
crazy. Yes.
Right?
Same with ayahuasca. DMT and ayahuasca are like the same pretty much.
Yeah. It's a timed release thing. Ayahuasca, you get to be there longer. Where DMT is the active ingredient. So you're just there and back. And I try to do it as much as possible because the band, especially the country band, had a lot of fucking rich fans, you know?
Really?
Oh yeah, dude! Country music is rich people pretending to be poor. Like that is the
aesthetic of being a redneck.
Yeah, you should see their cabins, dude. Like it's fucking. To be honest, like it got me too. I was like, I want this, you know. Like I'm normally like I don't care.
Like, does money matter? Yeah, no, I've been
a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It does matter a little bit. It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I know. And so I have this huge thing. Let's get there. With Jesus is very specific and clear about money. Like,
yeah, he is.
You cannot serve God and money. When the rich ruler comes to him and asks what he must do to be perfect, he says, sell all your shit and give it to the poor.
Yep.
There's like constantly he's rooting for the financial underdog of the day.
Always. Yes.
In what world and how could I on TikTok I'll see a fucking church service that has tanks driving over fucking cars while shooting machine guns.
Yes.
Like,
exactly. Disgusting.
Like how did we wake up here?
I don't know how Jesus's message like got to be that. And in this way, I actually feel like Jesus and Lilith are very similar. Jesus comes at it with love, and Lilith comes at it not with impatience, but fury. Like, at fury at the stupidity of the idea of righteous indignation, perhaps. Yeah, like just so much righteous indignation and anger at the idea of how dare you assume that there would ever be a power imbalance when we're all equal. And Jesus comes at it with like this love of like, I mean, but actually Jesus has his righteous anger as well, like against tax collectors, landlords. He like, supposedly ruined the temple or like had his temper tantrum there, which I co-signed.
To be honest, he doesn't even like people who aren't Jewish, if you take some of the verses. He's against reaching Gentiles. So the writings about him are like, it's like, shit, you kind of got to hover around certain teachings and forget other ones because he's a complicated figure.
That's interesting, actually, that like so many Christian nationalists are violently anti-Semitic.
Well, they hinge his death on them, and it in fact, there's a lot of scholars that I've read that blame anti-Semitism on the Christian movement.
Yeah,
and I think there's an argument. There's
actually an argument to be made because before, I can't really necessarily think of a time prior to, let's say, the execution of Jesus, which was by the state, by the way. It wasn't by Jews. It was, he was a man of color murdered by the state, much like, like George Floyd.
Yeah.
Not really that different.
Yeah. Not really, dude.
Really not different at all. Like a public execution by mechanisms of the state.
For trying to take over the state.
Exactly. I can't think of a time in antiquity. Again, this isn't necessarily I'm like a 19th, 20th century kind of bitch, but I can't. That's my research base. That's as far back as I go. The 1800s. Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't think of a time in antiquity where the Jewish peoples were, let's say, like persecuted or targeted more or less than any of the other kind of Mesopotamian or antique neighbors, just because of simple things like tariffs or trade routes or commodities or little local economies, whatever. I think what you're saying is right. Like after Jesus, like, because the blood libel myths of the Middle Ages, which like
no.
Oh my God.
What?
Again, okay, this is like the fun stuff, but it's so tragic. Like these like a little bit before and then also definitely coinciding with the witch trials of like these myths of Jewish people like kidnapping Gentile children and like sacrificing them and using their blood to make matzo ball soup. Like this very dark, very dark, very Lilithian actually, like tales that the Christians would tell about the Jews, like folkloric rumors that actually wound up killing a lot of Jewish people. Like there was a murder of some young boy in the Middle Ages, some young Christian boy, and the Jews were blamed for it because of like this blood libel myth. And then that blood libel myth like has been told in different ways throughout centuries, where now if you look at like QAnon and like the androchrome thing, like, oh, taking blood. It's the same fucking thing. It's same 13th century blood libel. It's super anti-Semitic, and it's the same fucking thing just now in the 21st century. It's fucking crazy. It doesn't go away. Isn't that nuts?
That's nuts. How stupid are we?
I know. We're doing the same fucking thing, just shifting it a little bit. I mean, this is like what monster theory says, right? Like, it's like the monster's body is the cultural body.
Okay.
And monsters haunt differently depending on like what cultural backdrop they're against. So like you have a vampire, and from the 19th century to the 21st century, there's been many different vampires. They scare people differently because of like the different social movements or like whatever. Like Jewish people are a community, like a group who has been made monstrous like time and time again. Like, and so like you have like their monstrosity of the Middle Ages, and then their monstrosity now, like via like anti-Semitism. It's like the same story, like this like blood libel shit. but just now it's marketed in like this new age, anti-government, the elite, the 1%, the new world order, androchrome, Pizzagate. Like,
Oh my
it's like this
God,
new
that's
anti-Semitism. It's crazy. But it's the same shit, just recycled. It's not anything new.
yeah. It's like fucking. So Kanye is just following a script.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
From the Middle Ages.
I've seen Kanye live. He's great. I love his music. I'm not saying I love his music.
No, you're totally doing like
hate
the
everything he's doing.
old Kanye. Like,
Yeah, fucking, I'm not gonna do both. My Yeezys got thrown away. They were a gift anyway. I didn't buy them, but yeah,
good man.
I'm not
But I
into.
understand your pain.
Right, it's like I'm not like literally Jonah Bergman. Like I said, one of my
Yeah.
he's one of the most important people in my life because he challenged my faith in a logical way that caused me to think. You know, I have so many
You're
of my
so
friends
special.
are. What now?
That's very special. Like,
Dude.
if somebody can challenge your faith, or if somebody can inject a little bit of faith in someone who's faithless, like that's a very special thing that happens, I think.
Yeah. It was just one of those, you know, like we were having a conversation and he did that.
know.
And
I know.
I stopped him. I'm like, thank you. That's all I needed. And then I went and read a bunch more, you know, and I found out, I was like, oh, this is fuck.
You're like, oh no.
Oh no. I was so wrong.
Yeah.
The Pizzagate, I don't know, the anti-Semitism almost gives this shit credibility in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
is it real?
But it's so like the anti-Semitism is so enduring for like so many centuries.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But it's the people don't realize that it's the same story because not like your everyday fucking person doesn't fuck with history, but history always repeats. And so if you look at history, you actually just have a roadmap of like what's going to happen next.
Oh no.
And so it's like, this is why, like, I'm a historian. I'm nerdy as shit. Yeah. But I'm trying to tell y'all that this, like, you know, that's my whole thing. I'm just like, listen to me. I have demons. I have sex. Hey, but I also have warnings. Okay? I also have warnings. And no one wants the last part.
I do. Get the fuck over here. It's fun, yo. You know, like coming. we got orgasms and theology. How could you not? How could you not be into this?
Theology. Fascism's on the rise.
What? Oh God, it's so scary, right?
It is really scary, but it's predictable because history just repeats, and so it's like, you know.
Yep. And I mean, let's get really shitty. Okay, I'm gonna say some shitty stuff here because I was up in this country town for quite a while. Trying to flip this house, you know.
Yes.
I just did everything myself. It sucked. Well, I had a buddy help for a little bit, but and so you're around. I'm drinking with my neighbors and talking to them. They're all the people that like have denied technology, have not automated sections of their life, don't make much money. They're disenfranchised. Now they're on welfare. A lot of them, you know, and so it's like the entire backbone of that Republican, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, is like collapsed in on itself. And these people aren't realizing that they're waking up to the fact that they are like the broke, impoverished. You know, they're not adapting. They're refusing to grow as humans. No, this is fucking what we stay. And now it's like radicalizing. Now that this is how you create, like, you know,
so some of these like former stereotypical Republicans are radicalizing. But to the left or to the right? You're talking about
right. Yeah, no, to the right. It's
so
like
close.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's both. But you know, my experience
is both, but it's more to the right, which is so sad because there's some like the left also doesn't like the government.
Yeah,
the left also sees like the politicians as being huge hypocrites, but then radicalization to the right is like putting too much trust in the politicians and just blaming immigrants or people of color. It's like you're so fucking close. You need someone to blame. blame the real fucking bad guy.
Yeah, which is really your
that's-
closeted homosexuality.
It's your closet
There's so many of them
homosexuality,
are closeted.
and it's your congressman. It's both, and
Who
your
are-
congressman
they're-
also probably has closeted homosexuality. So. Is this just like the issue of humanity right now? It's closeted homosexuality across the board.
It could be. It was not. I mean, my family taught me that if I was gay, I would not be allowed to live at the house or come to Christmas or.
When you, even still, like, would you?
Well, I don't live at the house to go to Christmas, so I guess it's basically worked. Like, yeah.
Have you told your family that if you have enough red wine, everyone's gay? Have you told them?
I think I have, honestly. Yeah, I try. When all that shit happened with Trump, because they're like all QAnon, and by the way,
They are.
well, so I can say this kind of stuff because my immediate family are great. I love them. They do have crazy beliefs. They do, but like as humans, they're fantastic. But they
And that
are,
does.
yeah,
That has nuance. There's nuance there.
there's
Yes.
yeah. But they hang out with homeschoolers still. They're homeschoolers. One of my sister has 8 kids. The other one's almost having her 7th. And they homeschool all of them.
Oh my god.
So their social group is great, and they're constantly inviting people to dinner. You know, it's like great as in I say, like a fun petri dish of thought. You know,
Yeah, fun. Fun.
it's interesting. So you know, there was this Thanksgiving dinner with a lot of boisterous, like outward emoting of righteous Jesus values. And every time I'd just be like, hey, can you pass the salt? Grab her by the pussy. And like to anything I said, I just said grab her by the pussy. Like,
Oh my god. Did you get kicked out? Like what
no,
happened?
because they were like, they were trying to say how that was fine. That was just locker room talk, you know. And so I just.
So you're just literally. Oh my god. This is the example of like little miniature resistance that I love. I have all the time in the world for that shit. All the time.
We're gonna start a movement of this shit, and we're gonna empower people.
We're getting dangerously close.
Yeah, this is like a fight club or like a cacophony group.
This
like,
is becoming a fight club, but like with like love and empathy and compassion.
balance.
Utopia.
Yes.
Hilarious. So, oh my god, yes. Are you smoking more? I love it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. This has been like so
Very
fucking
grateful.
fun. It is so fun.
The most fun.
But if this is like you guys bringing the feminine is me being on now a little tipsy after hour number 2 being like happy to do it.
You're like, my cross to bear. I got this. I'll take this all the way to go Gotham, guys.
Yeah, fine with that. No problem there.
And we've talked about so much, like political tension.
We actually have talked about so much.
Right?
I didn't anticipate to go on like a leftist rant.
Yeah,
Of
I
course.
think it's a good thing. I respect anyone's opinion. I have friends that are awesome, and they call themselves Christians and Republicans.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily align with many of some of their political things, but you know, for some reason, for them, they can just leave that at the door. They're like, that's, you know, they consider immigration or something even bigger, so they're just going to side with it, you know. And it's, I don't think it's, I just, all these sacred cows just need to go. Like, just, it's like every fucking. Right? Like
Great analogy. Yes.
we need dialogue, we need openness, we need love and compassion, and you know,
Love and compassion.
Especially if you're fucking with the microdosing.
Oh yeah.
You know, it does open you up to more of that love and compassion thing. It's really weird, right?
Shockingly so, actually. Which, like, I feel like some people get more opened up to love and compassion externally. I think I got a little bit more opened up to love and compassion internally.
Wow.
Because I do think I've always been like this very, like, since I was a child, I loved monsters. And so it makes sense now that I'm like an adult who does monster theory. I argue on behalf of demons and vilified historical figures and vilified mythic figures. Like, this all makes sense. I've always had a very like team underdog externalized empathy, but like maybe never some internalized empathy. And I appreciate mushroom microdoses like for that. Like, oh, you can like love yourself too, like as much as you love like monsters and people.
How fucking interesting.
Yeah, but then I think other people have that like, oh, like you can love other like so it's I feel like mushrooms just hit different for everyone, which is why it's so interesting to me, you know?
I think it shows you what's inside too.
For sure.
Right? Like kind of what you're saying. But this is interesting you say this because you know how people they have like a bad trip.
Yes.
You know, and like you see a demon or a demon the size of a universe, or you know, like you'll see some crazy shit. I've like there was this like fire, like the Eye of Sauron, that was bigger than like galaxies, and I
from
had to
mushrooms.
Like,
This is DMT.
this one might have been DOT actually, but I have had similar experiences on mushrooms. But point being is, if you love that evil thing, it becomes a party. And I learned this way early on one of my first mushroom trips. Is like the scary thing. If you just put your arm around it and be like, "Are you okay?" It like instantly, like everything. It's like not a scary trip anymore. You know, like it's. So that's really interesting. You say that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, not to do live, love, laugh, but love does conquer some shit. Like it really does.
Dude, that's my favorite Henry Rollins quote. It's a little love ruins a lot of hate.
Oh, that's very sweet. And I love Henry Rollins because he was very much like Antifa, like proto-Antifa, like very leftist, very cool. He's the man.
He's the man.
But still.
Yeah, even still. His spoken word shit is...
but like full of love.
Yeah. Well, and like Who else can do that better? Like he'll fucking kill you.
No, yeah.
Black Flag him. It's all like...
Yeah.
It's all like ripped. Yeah. Love that shit. That dichotomy.
Yeah, actually, like this, like super ripped, like dude who's not an alpha but has the body type of an alpha.
Yeah, his dad was a military guy, and so he grew up in the DC area, like the military. And so, like, he was like, "Fuck this shit." Yeah, so exactly. He does look like that. Like, when he has the crew cut and no neck, you know, he's like he's fucking. You ever seen Friday Night Lights, bro? Like he definitely looks like he would fit in with the American Pie crowd better.
Oh my god, he totally does. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, but Henry.
We need a spot for them too. Like, yeah. I don't ever. If a dude tells me, like, I have a comedian friend, and I'll name him.
Okay.
He's actually kind of famous now, so I won't say his name, but like,
I love comedians because they're all a little unhinged and depressed.
Yeah, living here is great for it. Yeah, we go all the time. I love that shit. But he was on stage talking about how men have it so hard right now, and like instantly in me, like this like little light bulb went off. You know, like my eyes go, you know, like, and it's like, okay, so. Do men have it hard right now, or are all the fake bullshit chutes and ladders you had to success now gone because equality and conversation is opening up? And
there's a balance being rectified.
Like,
exactly.
I'm a dude. I don't feel like I have it hard right now. I don't.
Yeah, and see, I would also err on the side of what you're saying. Like, if the scales are being balanced, then whoever was all the way up here might feel a little bit of but that's not oppression. That's just things coming back into balance.
No, you just have to compete now, fuckface. Like,
yeah, exactly. You just have to actually compete.
You just have to show up.
Scared that it's going to go like this, and then there's going to be matriarchy, and you're going to get treated the same exact way that you have been treating women or underlings or people that you have been able to perceive as less than you. I think that's inherently the thing, is like whenever the scales start coming down a little bit, people who are here and then now they're here get afraid that it's going to go like, and then they're going to be treated poorly. But that is an implicit acknowledgement that they have also been treating people poorly.
It's fucking projection, ain't it?
It's projection. Amen. Fuck. That's it. Thank you. It is projection. Humans are way too fear-based and way too projection-based. And that's going to get us nowhere.
Manipulation is like a massive temptation because it works so well. So every human has to like, I mean, I have to work really hard. I mean, I used to, you know, with the Christian shit, to not just lie. You're trying to reach people for Christ, so you're just practicing lying.
Yeah, it's advanced lying, aka manipulation.
Yeah. Oh, it's so gross.
And
right?
people want to be manipulated sometimes because, again, like loneliness, like the loneliness thing, like people are lonely, people want answers.
People want a daddy.
People want a daddy.
And they kind of
I'm trying
need
to
it,
give
to be
people
honest.
a mommy. We have Lilith.
Yeah. And maybe that is, yeah, what if we are? What if we're bringing balance to the world with our...
Yes, that's
with
the mommy
this?
wound, Lilith.
Oh, man, that's the mommy wound.
The mommy wound.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all have
that's
our mommy wounds.
Yeah, dude, I lost mine last October. So it was really weird.
God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
fuck.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's also weird because, like, I knew they would have a problem with the podcast. With
Yeah, of course.
Because they don't even know I smoke weed, you know? Like,
Oh. Uh-oh.
And to be honest, I did wait. She was very sick for a long time, so I waited to put it out till I thought it was. But she ended up living a lot longer, and her congregation was incredibly offended by it. So I was supposed to do all the music at her funeral. I put together a band, and because of the podcast, they wouldn't let me.
Are you serious? Because of this
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
they wouldn't let you do the music for your mom's funeral. And they had the authority to say that.
I mean, it's their church, you know, like the church my mom. They,
Which
you know,
trumps,
that's the only
you know,
place they have authority. Yeah, it ends right
and
at the
they
front
won't
door.
use it. Fuck.
Yeah, it was a little bummer too. It's like what it could have been an interesting time to be like, you know, but to show acceptance and maybe some openness, and people of different beliefs can coexist and get along, you know. But it's
Well, yeah, I like what you're saying there.
yeah, I wish it
Because
could
that
have
is like the only way forward, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna like not talk to you and ostracize you because you're like a Republican. I'm actually just gonna try to reason with you
And
with
what
kindness.
a fucking you, the PhD in demons, are here building real bridges of love and community while everyone else is like fucking throwing stones.
Actually, yes. Let's have this like on the record. If any like right-wing Christians are listening, I am the demonologist advocating for cooperation, collaboration, and love-based solutions.
Oh my god,
So,
that is the best thing I've ever heard. But this actually gives it some legs. Like I do, the fact that you exist and are thinking this way and growing and being just obviously continuing to in all this beauty and love and truth and friendship and greatness. Like this is, I think we might be okay. I think we
yeah,
might
but
make it.
also the fact that you exist, you create spaces like this, you carve them out within the ether. You're being critical against like some religious text that actually isn't doing it for us right now. It isn't giving us the juice. It isn't giving us the momentum. You're trying to bring it back to like hippie socialist Jesus.
I like it. I do like
I
it.
love your mission. I love what you're doing. I think it's like very good. We have look at this. We're building. We have a bridge between a demonologist and a critical a Bible studies man. And if I wasn't as drunk, I would have a fancier title for
Dude,
you.
this is what we're doing. Next time we're gonna give ourselves 4 or 5 hours. Okay. Next time we're gonna give ourselves a super long time, and I'm bringing whiskey too.
I'll bring
Next
whiskey
time.
too.
Yeah, we'll bring whiskey next time.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because I should go. I need to go get my boys have a bunch of stuff to do. I need to go be a dad now. But
It's 12:40 in the morning for me, but
you should keep partying. I love you so much. I'm so grateful for this. I can't wait. I'm bringing my wife over there. We're all gonna party. It's gonna be the most fun.
I want to meet the wife. I want to meet the boys, like in
You'd
real life,
freak
not
out.
on Instagram.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
great. They're all great.
Of course.
Yeah, in
Of
fact,
course, I love you.
I'll leave this. My 13-year-old. The other day, we had an Uber driver because we were going to go to a hotel, and his name was Jesus. And
Yes,
my 13-year-old's
love it.
looking at the name on my phone, and he goes, "You know, if you take the J and the E away, he's just sus."
I love Gen Z. Or Gen Alpha.
Whatever they are, so funny.
Take the J and the E. It's just sus.
Brutal. They're just brutal.
Oh, they are very brutal.
So
They're like
brutal.
little Nietzsche's.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can like bring a little bit of love into it. I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe it's
They're
what
pretty
we need.
loving.
They're loving. Okay.
Yeah, they're loving. Yeah, you'll meet them. You'll know. I love you so much. Let's talk
I love
soon.
you so much.
Okay.
We'll talk soon.
Yes.
And I'll email you some loopholes. Give your family some love
Yeah.
from me. Thank you for this. This was very fun.
This is very fun. Thank you. I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye.
Bye, babe.
Bye.